Welcome back to Lone Wolf. We're on to the Caverns of Kalte. So we finished the first two books, which seems to be like a kind of contained quest where we the monastery was attacked by the Dark Lords. We traveled all the way to the east, whatever it's called. Home. I would look at the map, but I don't think the map is going to be the same this time. Hope we don't have a map right now. We traveled east to that place, we got the Summer Sword, came back, and then fought back the Dark Lords and defeated them. Hooray! Oh, okay, well, we'll read the story so far here, because it'll probably recap. Oh, I'll just get my drink. In the northern land of Summerland, it has been the custom for many centuries to send the children of the warrior lords to the monastery of Kai. There they were taught the skills and disciplines of their noble fathers. You are Lone Wolf, and are now the last of the warrior lords of Summerland. 1 year ago, the ancient enemy of your people, the Dark Lords of Helgadad, suddenly invaded Summerland and completely devastated the Kai monastery. All of the Kai warriors were in attendance for the feast of Therman, and all except you were massacred. You fought your way to Holmgard, the capital of your country, where the king sent you upon a desperate quest for help. Your mission was fraught with great danger, for Summerland had been betrayed by one of its own magicians, Vonatar the traitor. His agents sought to kill you at every opportunity, but your skill and strength defeated their evil aims. We killed Vonatar just by pointing a sword at him. We didn't even have to get into an actual combat with him. You returned to Holmgard at the head of a great fleet, the allies of Durinor, and destroyed the Dark Lord army that besieged your capital. Much of Summerland was ruined by the war. The rich farmlands were laid waste and many towns were razed to the ground, but the Somlending are a tough people and were undaunted by the enormous task that lay ahead. They set about the rebuilding of war-torn Summerland with such determination that now, 1 year later, few of the scars of war remain visible. For the crucial part that you played in the victory, the king has bestowed upon you the rank and title of Hriel of Summerland, a rare honor for one so young. The ruins of the Kai monastery and much of the surrounding lands are now Hrielund under your protection. Work to rebuild the monastery was about to commence when disturbing news from the north prompted the king to summon you to the capital. Many merchants, returning from the summer trading expeditions to Kalte, told of the fall of the Brumalmark, the leader of the Ice Barbarians. The description of the hunchbacked magician who has succeeded the fierce Brumalmark fits only one man, Vonatar the traitor. After the defeat of the Dark Lords, Vonatar escaped to the frozen wastes of Kalte. He made his way to the ice fortress of Ikaya, where, through deception, he tricked the cruel Brumalmark into adopting him as his magician. It was a mistake that was to cost the barbarian leader his fortress and his life. The news that Vonatar still lives spreads like wildfire throughout Summerland. Thousands of Somlendings surround the capital and demand that Vonatar be made to pay for his treachery. So great is the outcry that the king is obliged to promise that the evil traitor will be brought back to Holmgard and made to stand trial for his crimes. For you, Lone Wolf, the king's promise is the start of a quest that will pit you against a hated foe deep within the hostile caverns of Kalte. So it's the usual rules. If you have successfully completed any of the previous adventures, Yeah, so we will carry over our combat skill. Unfortunately, because our combat skill is absolute trash. It's the worst. Well, almost worst. The 1. But we do get a bonus Kai Discipline, so that might be worth it. So we're keeping Camouflage, Sixth Sense, Healing. So there's no point picking Weapon Skill, because we probably still have the Summer Sword. Still got our ticket for the bloody coach. Surely we hand in the ticket. Yeah, so there's no point taking weapon skill. Like, it will be like a 1 in 5 chance of it being sword, and sword is the only thing that matters. So we never used Mind Over Matter for anything useful. Tracking can be useful. Mind Shield can be useful. But we're trying to avoid combat anyway, so let's go with tracking. We've got a map. Before leaving the northern port of Anscaven, you are escorted to the city hall and equipped with special winter boots, a tunic, a fur-lined cloak, and mittens. Mittens? Nice. Get some gold. 19 crowns, okay. So how many do we have altogether? 19 crowns. Did we not have any money before? Oh yeah, we lost them all to the mouse. You're given the choice of any of the following items. Well, we already have the summer sword, so we're not going to take a weapon. Might as well take the padded leather waistcoat. And another one of these potions, I guess. Alright. Rules for combat. Blah blah blah, we know this. I'm still an initiate. Take a look at the map. Ooh. So I assume we're coming from the south. Limit of winter pack ice. And then we got all this stuff. Alright. Alright, I'll just grab my coffee. Alright. We are so gonna die here. Like, you need combat skill is kind of important, and you just roll the dice for it. Alright, but we've got the Summer Sword. Which is good. Let's try not to lose it. Oh man, if we have to restart the book, then we'll no longer have the Summer Sword, I assume. Which wouldn't make sense, because why would we lose it? But, I don't know. Right. Even before you accepted the task of bringing Vonatar to justice, preparations were being made for your voyage to Kalte. The captain of the Somlending warship Cardonal, having returned from a long Kaltos Sea patrol, was ordered to await your arrival in Angsthaven. During the night, food, ice equipment, and canoe dog teams were taken on board. The mission was highly secret. Only senior members of the crew were told the true nature of the voyage that lay ahead. The plan is to set you ashore at Hull Bluff, drop anchor, and await your return. An elite team of trusted guides will lead you from the bluff to Ikaya. Once inside the ice fortress, you are to hunt down and capture Vonatar, and then return with your guides to the ship. Your mission must be accomplished within 30 days at most, for winter is closing in, and no ship can withstand the grip of the Kalte pack ice. If you do not return in time, the captain will be forced to set sail without you. Alright, 1 second. For 6 days, the Cardinal sails across the stormy Kalte Sea without running into a storm, but every day the temperature steadily drops until a layer of ice covers the decks. On the morning of the 7th day, the snow-capped island of Tola is sighted on the horizon. Soon after, a light wind rises from the east. At first there appears to be little danger, but within half an hour a furious blizzard is blowing and all sight of land quickly vanishes in the scudding drift. All day the furious gale rages, tremendous winds slice the tops of the huge grey waves and water crashes over the decks, masts and rigging of the ship, freezing almost immediately into solid ice. The sides of the ship become several feet thick with seawater. It is not until early evening that the weather clears, and although the wind still blows strongly, the force of the gale is spent. You are soon to discover that the gale has blown the ship nearly 30 miles off course, along the lip of the Yuk ice shelf. You know that to return to Hull Bluff would waste a precious day, so you decide to land on the ice shelf and start your mission from there. Lip of the Yuk ice shelf. Let's have a look. So I guess we're here. Oh, we're here. We were meant to go here. So we've landed about here. We should have just spent a day going back. It's only a day. As the last of the Kanu dogs are carried ashore, your guides tell you of the 2 possible routes to Ikaya from here. The first route involves a 130-mile trek to Cloudmaker Mountain, and then, following the difficult terrain of the Viad Glacier, a further 100 miles must be covered before you arrive at the Ice Fortress. The alternative route involves a longer journey of nearly 180 miles into the Hrod Basin, followed by a trek of 100 miles through Storm Giant Pass to Ikaya. Even if the weather and your luck hold good, either route will involve 10 days of hard trekking before you reach your goal. Wait, so we can either go... So we go to Cloudmaker Mountain, and then follow the glacier. Alright, so we go to the mountain here, and then follow the glacier to the Ice Fortress, or... into the Hrod Basin, and then go through Storm Giant Pass. Oh, so we go here, to the west, and then take the Storm Giant Path. Well, given that our combat really sucks, we might want to follow the glacier. Like, I think if we go through Storm Giant Pass, we'll probably have to face more enemies. So let's maybe take the more direct route. Alright, we'll go for it. Your transport to Ikaya consists of 2 sledges, each drawn by a team of 6 Kanu dogs. This sturdy breed is native to Kalte, and they make ideal sledge dogs. Their thick, tawny coats and powerful chests, as well as their vigor and enthusiasm, even in the coldest climates, make them well suited to the work ahead. On board, each sledge has enough food and equipment for the mission. Your 3 guides, Irian, Fenno, and Dice, are all experienced trappers. They are skilled at survival in the icy desert and know the many unseen dangers. Once the dogs are harnessed, you and Dice climb aboard your sledge and signal to the others to lead the way. As you stare across the frozen expanse of the Lyuk ice shell, you can see a white glare on the distant horizon. This is the Viad Glacier Wall, the point where the flow of ice meets the frozen sea. Through the crisp, clear air of Kalte, it looks no more than 6 miles away at most, but in reality it is nearer 60 miles away. You make good progress on the first day, and as darkness approaches you decide to set up camp for the night. You halt inside a circle of ice pillars that have been forced upwards by the constantly moving ice shelf. The sledges are drawn together and a tent is erected beside them. Once the canvas is secured and the Kanu dogs have been settled for the night, you begin to prepare your evening meal. Suddenly, a terrifying roar is heard outside the tent. "By the gods!" cries Irian. "A Baknar!" Baknar are large carnivorous creatures that dwell near the Kalte coastline. Their usual prey are galangs, or the smaller ostrels that live at the sea's edge. But this Baknar has been attracted by the scent of the dogs. It is about to attack and eat several of your sledge dog team. Well, we have the animal kinship. Let's change the music to something. You can sense that the Baknar is desperate for food. Your Kai discipline will be useless, for you will not be able to order it away from the camp now that it has detected the Kanu dogs. However, you know that Baknar are fearless hunters, fearless except when it comes to one thing: fire. Grabbing a torch from a pile of equipment, you light it and race out of the tent. It is dark and snowing heavily, but a movement to your right betrays the Baknar as it lopes towards you. It is preparing to pounce when the sight of the guttering flames makes it shriek with terror. A second later it has turned and disappeared into the night. The Kanu dogs are safe, but to make sure the Baknar does not return, you agree to take it in turns to sit watch with a torch and a weapon. The following morning, you awake at dawn to the welcome sight of Benno preparing a hot breakfast. He passes you a steaming bowl and you gratefully eat its contents. Then you begin loading the equipment onto the sledges for today's journey. It is a beautiful morning. The wind has dropped and the air is fresh and clear. The canoe dogs are strong and eager to be off, and for most of the day the ice is smooth and the running easy. By nightfall, you have reached Siem Island, a pinnacle of granite rising through the ice shelf to a height of 400 feet. You make camp to the leeward side of the island in order to avoid the worst of the night winds. The following day, the weather becomes bitterly cold. Wind from the north brings a hail of ice that stings your face. Your lips soon spit and bleed. By midday, you are engulfed in a blizzard that makes progress slow and tiring. The howling wind forces you to dismount from your sledge and push it. Feel utterly exhausted. Let's make the music a bit more, By the time you reach the glacier's edge, it is nearly nightfall. You are all so exhausted that you barely have the energy to pitch your tent and eat a meal. Disaster has all but overtaken you. You have frostbite in your toes, fingers, and nose, and unless you have the high discipline of healing, you lose 4 endurance points. Oh, okay, we got the healing. That night, a gale sweeps across the open ice shelf and buries your tent in snow. During your sleep, the canvas is forced in, and upon the 4 of you and your sleeping furs become soaking wet. Oh dear. You awake at dawn with a terrible cramp in both of your legs. It takes nearly an hour of massaging your frozen limbs before you can stand properly. You're beginning to wish that you had never set foot in this icy hell. The gale gradually drops, the air clears, and the Viad Glacier is revealed in all its splendor. The even surface of ice crystals look like a carpet of snow glittering with gems of every hue: yellow, violet, blue, green, orange, and crimson. Yet the crystals are of such brilliance, they would put any jewel in the shade. The ice wall rises over 800 feet, and for the main part, it is a smooth but very steep climb. Although the weather is fine, it takes the best part of a day to climb the glacier's edge. All of the equipment has to be unloaded and taken to the top of the glacier, where it is repacked onto the sledges. The canoe dogs do hardly anything but fight, and your food is so shaken up in the climb that a gruesome mush is all that remains of it. By the end, you are exhausted. I mean, who cares if the food becomes mush? It's still the same food. With daylight fading fast, you decide to pitch camp in the shelter of a natural ice bowl and settle down to a much-deserved night's rest. For 3 days and nights, you trek northwards across the bleak and inhospitable glacier. Irian and Fenner have both suffered from severe snow blindness, and the relentless north wind seems to sap everyone's strength. On the morning of the 4th day on the glacier, the wind finally drops. A bearing can now be taken to find out your exact position. To everyone's dismay, Irian announces that you have veered a long way off course. You turn to face the ancient grey peaks of a mountain range, looming up out of the northern snow. It is a bleak and forbidding sight. The Mijavix, says Dice, disappointment written all over his bearded face. We've come too far east. Let's have a look at the map. So we're about here. Like, we're actually quite close to the fortress. It's not that bad if we're close to the Mijavix, is it? The Mijavik Mountains lie between you and Ekaya. Okay, we're on the other side of the Mijavik Mountains. To cross them will mean having to leave the sledges and canoe dogs, packing your equipment on your backs and continuing on foot. Just leave the canoe dogs to die? Aww. There is an alternative, but it could lose you 2 precious days. You can retrace your route to the glacier and resume the march from there. So we had 30 days to get there and back. Right now we've spent like a week or something. I haven't been keeping track. It'll cost another 2 days to go back to the glacier. I don't know how long it takes to cross the mountains. I think we're fine for time. We should probably just take the safer route. Go back to the glacier. The 2 days that follow are sheer hell. Ridges formed by deeply fissured ice mounds continually bar your way, and you're forced to dismount and manhandle the sledges across them. Progress is slow. Canoe dogs are nervous and take fright at the slightest instance, and the sledges frequently capsize and spill their loads. A haze of fine snow obscures your vision. On 2 occasions, Fëanor and Irian slip into crevices and have to be pulled out by their safety ropes. Hello, DAJ. How many times have you died today? None. We just started this book today, and I haven't died in this one. I died a lot in the first book, even though it's supposed to be shorter and easier than the second book. This is the third book, though. We've only got 26 more books to go after this. Then your sledge meets with a similar mishap. Ice volunteers to be lowered into the crevice on the end of a rope and unloads the damaged sledge so that it is light enough to be hauled out. After 2 hours of backbreaking effort, the sledge is dragged from the void, but only for you to discover that it is damaged beyond repair and will have to be abandoned. Gotta finish them all before AOC, yeah, that's true. A gale rises from the west and blows so fiercely that you have difficulty in standing. Within a few minutes, the conditions have become so bad that you are obliged to pitch a tent and wait for the gale to die down. Hour after hour, the wind buffets the tent relentlessly. Buffets? We've got that word again. We had that word last book. As you slowly drift off to sleep, you can only dread what the next morning may bring. You are totally unaware of the amazing sight that awaits you. The gale dies away during the night, and dawn arrives calm and still. On the horizon to the far north, you can see Ikaya, the ice fortress. Wow, we've actually reached the ice fortress. The huge crystal-towered stronghold is a wondrous sight, made all the more marvelous because it appears to hover upside down upon a large cloud. Cult mirage, says Dice. There's no dust in the air here. The land is reflected in the clouds. That's Ikaya, but the real fortress is over the horizon. It cannot be more than 40 miles away now. Dice grabs a spade and starts to dig out the canoe dogs that have been buried by snow. You wake the others and eat a meal before setting off once more. It is midday when you reach the edge of a deep gorge. It is over 40 feet wide and there appears to be no way of crossing it. You are forced to travel along the gorge to the east. Eventually, after 3 miles, you discover a narrow ice bridge. However, the center of the bridge is frighteningly thin and narrow. Oh, God. It looks incapable of supporting the weight of a loaded sledge. You can now see the real Ikaya upon the horizon. Alright, we definitely don't want to risk taking the sledge across the bridge. We know that's just going to kill us. Unload the sledge and ferry the equipment piece by piece. That also sounds risky. Or we could just abandon... I mean, what is the equipment that we're abandoning? We keep our stuff that we have in our backpack, I assume. I think we brought, like... I don't know, various mountaineering equipment and stuff. We could try and ferry the equipment across. Alright, let's try that. Uh-oh. The sledge is unpacked and the equipment is ferried across piece by piece. Everything is going according to plan until the sledge itself is brought over the gorge. Wait, no, I wasn't planning to bring the sledge across the gorge. I just wanted to bring the equipment. Oh, okay. Well, Dice is steering it, taking great pains to keep it in the center of the narrow bridge, when suddenly the two lead canoe dogs slip and fall into the gorge. They hang helplessly in their harnesses, howling and kicking at the air. Dice frantically pulls on the reins to try to prevent the others from falling as well, but his efforts are in vain. One by one, the other 4 dogs are pulled from the bridge by the increasing weight of those below. Jump, Dice, jump, screams Irian, as the last dog plummets into the void. Dice leaps clear just as the sledge topples into the gorge, but he lands on the narrowest section of ice and loses his footing. Help me, he cries, his fingers clawing at the slippery ice. Oh, is he just on by his hands? Oh no! What do we do? You wish to attempt to save Dice. Like, the dogs fell in and they pulled in more dogs and then that led Dice to fall. We gotta break the chain. Sorry, Dice. He's wearing mittens. Do we have anything that could really help? Not really. I'm sorry, Dice. A shiver runs up your spine as Dice's screams fade away into the dark gorge. Lawagga, throw the dice. He was staring into the inky blackness when Irian suddenly shouts, "There, over there, I'm sure I saw something." You turn to see him pointing not at the gorge, but towards the west. "Look, over there," says Fëanor, who is also pointing, but at a ridge of ice in the middle distance. 2 fur-clad warriors are standing on top of a large slab of ice. They stare in your direction, all alerted no doubt by Dice's scream. "Damn it, Dice!" He died, alerting them to our presence. "Can you just die silently?" "Ice barbarians," whispers Irian. Choose your own adventure books. Yeah, they did die off. This particular series, though, was made like open source. Like the author has released them freely on for people to use to make apps and stuff. So this is a web app which lets you play it, and it programs all the rules into it, which is really good. We've got the map. We've got our like disciplines and items. I mean, strictly speaking, Choose Your Own Adventure is a specific brand, and the official term for these types of books is game books. If you're not referring to the like those which are specifically Choose Your Own Adventure books. I think the Choose Your Own Adventure books tended to be less roleplay like. They were more they were more like you didn't usually keep track of your inventory and stuff. Usually it's just like you turn pages and end up down some path. Here though, you actually do combat and dice rolls and manage your inventory and stuff. "Ice barbarians," whispers Irian, his voice shaking with fear. "If they reach Ikaya before us, we're as good as dead. You are still 15 miles from the ice fortress and less than 3 hours of daylight remain." Thing is, we have like the worst combat skill, almost. Oh, no, we've got... So we rolled 3 out of possible 9. That's not too bad. But still, I don't really want to fight them. We do have the Summer Sword, though. And I think if you complete a book, there's 29 books. If you complete a book, then when you start the next book, you get to keep all your stuff from before, including 1 additional skill and stuff. So if I were to restart this book, I don't think we'll have the Summer Sword anymore. And the Summer Sword is really strong. It adds 8 points to your combat skill. So maybe we should actually fight them this time. Yeah, let's attack them then. Alright, let's put the combat music on. This is all Witcher 3 soundtrack music. Preparing yourself for combat, you signal to the others to attack. The Ice Barbarians soon realize the danger and flee towards the west. To your dismay, you see that they are equipped with skis. You can make a speedy escape. Oh, they're skiing. They have small poles attached to their fur-clad backs from which strange blue flags flutter. Convoy scouts, says Irian, shielding his eyes from the glare of the snow. Their blue banach, their back flags, mean they're scouts from a sledge pack. They're probably on their way back from the trading post at Liu. The convoy can't be more than a few miles away, 5 at most. Well, they're on skis. We're not going to be able to catch up to the scouts. They know this land. I think we'll just press on. As you approach nearer to Ikaya, the recent encounter with the Ice Barbarians plays on your mind. Will you be able to outrun them, or are they planning an ambush at this very moment? So on the map, we started like on the mainland, and we took our ship all the way to this ice shelf, then we trekked through the glacier to these mountains. We're now pretty much at the ice fortress we're supposed to get to, although we do have to get back. Will you be able to outrun them, or are they planning an ambush at this very moment? Both Irian and Fenno look very anxious, and little is said as you trek across the difficult terrain. But your worries distract your attention from more familiar danger. You are less than 8 miles from the fortress when the snow gives way beneath you and you plunge into a hidden crevasse. You have fallen over 150 feet into a massive snowdrift. You are shaken and winded, but otherwise unharmed. It takes nearly half an hour to tunnel your way clear, and when you finally stagger out of the powdery snow, you are astonished by the sight that greets you. Huge underground cavern spreads into the distance. Stalactites of crystal hang from the icy ceiling, and the constant dripping of melting snow fills this ice world with an eerie, musical sound. You are looking at an uncharted world that few Somlending have ever seen, for you have fallen into the Caverns of Kalte. This chamber is a tiny part of a massive underground labyrinth built by the ancients many ages before the Somlending, or even the Dark Lords set foot in Magnamund. Its wide avenues, temples, and halls once echoed with the sound of a race of creatures for whom the ice was a natural home. Malare bowls still hang from the roof, bathing the chamber with their eternal light. You shout towards the opening high above. Don't shout! You'll cause some sort of avalanche. But there is no reply. Irian and Fenno have given you up for dead. And they are now trying to make their way back to the Cardinal. How do I know that? They're going back to the Cardinal? Are they not going to press on? I guess it needs to be me that makes it to Ikaya, even though I have crappy combat skill. This is my destiny. The sides of the cave are steep and sheer. To climb up to the surface from here would be impossible. In the distance to the north, you notice a rough-hewn tunnel. There's also a similar tunnel to the west. Use our sixth sense. You get the uneasy feeling that danger lurks along both tunnels. Although you sense that the northern tunnel is the more perilous of the two, you feel sure that it is the quickest route to Ikaya. I don't want to take peril right now. Let's go west. The tunnel is low and narrow and gradually descends towards the light of a distant cavern. As you reach the tunnel's end, you peer cautiously into the cavern beyond, in case you disturb something better left alone. Your caution is well placed, for in the center of the icy cavern lie two large furry creatures. The remains of a shredded carcass lie on the snow around them. We have both tracking and animal kinship. The creatures in this cavern are Kalkoth, savage and cruel predators of Kalte. Their favorite prey is Baknar, and it is the remains of one of those animals spattered across the floor of the cavern. There is another passage leading off towards the north, but it is on the far side of the cavern. We just try and creep past them. After 2 hours of carefully exploring the passage, you are aware that it has gradually descended over 200 feet. You eventually reach a vast ice vault, the center of which is filled with a lake. The frozen surface is very thin, and the water beneath it looks dark and deep. You kneel at the edge of the lake, peering into its mysterious depths. Suddenly you see a large black shape pass close to the surface. There is something alive beneath the ice, and it is enormous. Then, behind you, you hear the growls of a Kalkoth. The noise is coming from the tunnel. There is only one other exit from this vault, which is on the other side of the frozen lake. Uh-oh. We do have camouflage. Let's do that. Wrapping yourself in your white cloak, you take cover behind a stalagmite near to the lake's edge. Holding your breath and keeping as still as possible, you listen to the footsteps and growls of the Kalkoth as they draw nearer and nearer. If at any time you ever smeared Baknar oil into your skin, add 2. Well, we haven't done that. Uh-oh. Got the low wrong. Kalkoth charges onto the lake and immediately falls through the ice. Beneath the frozen surface, Shadow speeds towards the helpless creature as it thrashes wildly in the icy water, snatching it suddenly into the depths. Unnatural stillness descends, and all that remains now is a large patch of red water spreading slowly beneath the ice. You quickly scramble towards the jagged outline of the tunnel on the far side of the lake. As you reach the solid ice of the bank, you notice something strange lying here. It is a small triangle of blue stone on a neck chain. If you wish to keep this blue stone triangle, slip the chain over your head. I'll mark it on your action chart. Alright. We'll take it. Into the tunnel. Alright. After a short walk, you arrive at a massive icefall full of crystal stalagmites and stalactites. The floor is covered with animal tracks and bones, yet the vast hall seems empty and still. You notice that the northern wall is a completely smooth surface of granite blocks stretching upwards to the icy ceiling, over 100 feet above. You suddenly realize that you are staring at the foundation stones of Ikaya. You have reached the ice fortress. Partially obscured by a large mound of crystals, you can just make out a ramp leading up to a massive stone door in the fortress wall. Your discovery brings renewed hope. If you can gain entry to Ikaya and quickly capture Vonotar, there is still time to reach your ship, the Cardinal, before the pack ice starts to freeze. Stop and search the bone-littered floor? Why not? It's not going to take that long, is it? You discover that many of the bones scattered among the stalagmites are of human origin. Shattered skulls, skeletal hands, and rib cages lie half buried in the ice. You're about to abandon your search when a small box made of carved bone catches your eye. Okay, we'll open it. The bone box contains a beautiful diamond. Its many facets gleam and sparkle, even in the dim half-light of the ice hall. In Sommerland, a jewel of this size and quality would be worth thousands of crowns. Too bad our wallet only has a 50 crown capacity. If you wish to keep the diamond, sure, I'll keep it. As you climb the slippery stone ramp, sound of cracking ice makes you spin around. The large mound of crystals at the base of the ramp is beginning to move. The crystals are alive. You stare in disbelief as the mound is transformed into a writhing mass of crystal coils. Simon totally won't be cursed. Yeah, it could well be. We've still got our coach ticket from book 2. Like, we're never going to need that again. We've got our red pass as well. The coils unwind and the ice creature slithers towards you. Fight it or evade it? We do have the summer sword, so even though we don't have a great combat roll, combat strength, like we get, as long as we have the summer sword, and we probably won't if we reset the game. So maybe we should actually fight it. This strange creature is a crystal frostworm, a scavenging beast now living on the remains of the unfortunate creatures that have entered the cavern. Its hard skin is almost transparent, and its internal organs can be seen pulsating inside. A large mouth opens in the crystalline head to reveal row upon row of jagged crystal teeth. Your back is pressed to the stone door, and there is no way to evade the monster. You must fight the creature to the death. It is immune to Mind Blast. So many things are immune to Mind Blast. Well, I mean, it's still a useful skill to have, but... Oh, combat ratio 8. Okay, we'll win this. Oh, we hit it for 16. Alright, we take a little bit of chip damage, but we easily kill it. You watch with a mixture of fascination and revulsion as each segment of the creature shatters and then slowly dissolves into the ice. Soon, all that remains of the crystal frostworm are the undigested contents of its stomach. To your surprise, in the center of this mess of fetid flesh and bone, you can see the shank of an ornate silver key. Sure, why not? We'll take it. The key is coated with a corrosive digestive acid that burns through your mittens and attacks your fingers. Lose 1 endurance point. Do we get to keep our mittens? You drop the key and plunge your hand into the snow to ease the pain. If you still wish to keep the key, you can wipe it in the snow. Yeah, sure, I'll keep it. You must now search for a way of opening the fortress door. The fortress door is completely smooth. It has no visible lock, hinge, or keyhole. However, turning your attention to the granite wall, you notice that one of the massive blocks is different to all the others. A small triangle has been cut into its surface. If you possess a blue stone triangle, yes we do. Removing the blue stone triangle from around your neck, you press it into the granite wall. It is a perfect fit. You immediately feel a tremor running through the ledge on which you are standing, followed by the grinding noise of stone upon stone. The door opens, but after it has opened less than 3 feet, it begins to close. Without a moment's hesitation, you dive into the fortress and the door crashes shut behind you. The corridor in which you now stand is far warmer than the icy cavern outside. For the first time in many days, you can lower the hood of your cloak and remove your mittens without risking frostbite. You notice that the stone passage ascends to a landing where another passage branches off to the east. Malaya bowls hang at regular intervals along the arched ceiling, their unnatural light illuminating the carved walls. As you approach the landing, you notice an archway leading into a small room beyond. A strange sight meets your eyes. Ragged furs, pottery shards, and the debris of hundreds of years seem to have been thrown into this chamber. A large lever protrudes from the wall beside the archway. feel like the lever is just going to be like a trap. But I would like to actually investigate the contents. After 10 minutes of searching the room, you discover an old fur backpack and a long coil of rope. Alright. Yeah, sure. Take the rope. Yeah, take the rope. You soon reach the bottom of a flight of broad stone steps that ascends northwards to a landing 30 feet above. The center of each step has been worn smooth by the feet of the countless creatures that once inhabited the lower levels of cold Ikaya. As you climb, you wonder how long you will remain undetected. So far, you have neither seen nor heard any other living soul in these deserted passages. You have the element of surprise on your side. You now pray that Vonotar is unprepared for an intruder from the depths of his own fortress. You reach the landing and pass through an empty hall through a darkened archway beyond. Here, the passage splits and branches off towards the east and west. You have to eat a meal. I won't bother because we heal it back like within 3 turns because of my healing ability. Although if we have meals, that's what they're for. I probably should have just eaten the meal. How many meals have we got? 2. Yeah, whatever. Where are we going? West? You have been walking along the passage for less than 5 minutes when it veers sharply northwards. Just ahead to your left, you can see a large stone door. The lever is up and the door is closed. Sure, let's open it. The stone portal creaks open but grinds to an abrupt halt halfway across. The gap is a little over 2 feet wide and you are only just able to squeeze through to the chamber beyond. The air in the room is cold and stale. This chamber has obviously lain undisturbed for many thousands of years. Stone shelves are stacked high with bottles and flasks. On a table in the center lies a beautiful pack full of different colored potions. Sure, let's investigate. The pack contains 4 ornate glass vials. They hold red, orange, green, and black liquids. Which one do you wish to examine? I don't know. Orange? The stopper in this vial is jammed, and you have to take great care not to break the slender glass neck. It gradually loosens and you sniff the orange liquid. We do have 6th sense. You recognize the potion to be distilled Aletha, a potion of strength. Your Kai masters used Aletha to increase their combat skill in battle. Sure. What exactly do they mean immediately before you fight? Like, if fight has started and it's saying, do your turn, is that the point at which we can still use the vial? I hope so. I mean, I don't know how they programmed this, but it might have a prompt asking us to use the vial. Otherwise, from here... Oh, we have a use button. But duration of a fight. Well, I don't know. Okay. Why not investigate the others? Red. Wiping the grime from the stopper, you unscrew it and carefully sniff the red liquid. If you have the Kai discipline healing. Yeah, we do. Restores 5 endurance points. Sure, we'll keep it. Check green. If you have... We do have animal kinship. Or if you have reached the Kai rank of aspirant. How can you be that? Oh, we are, aren't we? We are aspirant because we survived 1 book. Either way, we've got both. Concentrated Galabrush. Sleep Tooth. Oh, I remember this. We found that in book 1. We avoided it. Sure, we'll keep it. We gotta just throw away some things. Okay. I have a feeling we're not gonna need this coach ticket, which was valid for only that one trip anyway. And they didn't even take the ticket off us. So, let's throw away the coach ticket. Hope I'm not gonna regret this. Cannot get more backpack items. Okay, throw away. Oh, we went over somehow. Alright, we'll throw away the, Oh, the coach ticket was a special item. No, no, no! We get to hold it for free. Keep the coach ticket! We have to throw away actual backpack items. Alright, we'll throw away the meals then. Let's check black. No, I think this one might be dangerous, so let's ignore it. All right, let's go. We've got a lot of stuff, and a lot of healing things. So actually pretty decent for combat. If only we had a better roll for the raw combat skill. Alright, you notice that the ceiling and walls of the corridor are covered with strange carvings. They seem to depict small cyclones or tornadoes gradually changing shape into almost human form. Although puzzled by the strange hieroglyphs, you continue until you reach a point where the tunnel takes a sharp turn right. Only a few feet along the northern wall is another stone door. The lever in the wall next to it is raised and the door is firmly closed. Several yards further ahead, a flight of steps disappears upwards. Let's just check out the rooms. You press the lever and the stone door slides aside to reveal a large chamber. It is cold, stale, and empty except for a granite chest lying near the east wall. Could be a mimic. Do they, like, I don't know, are they expecting random people to enter the fortress? I don't know if they'd even bother to set traps. They probably would. Let's examine it. Ah! Ahaha! The faces of grotesque and distorted creatures adorn the surfaces of the chest. Their obscene expressions and unnatural proportions make you shudder with revulsion. Set into the center of the lid is a large stone block carved with a hideous face, the mouth of which is shaped around a keyhole. I do have the silver key. You insert the key and turn it clockwise. A click confirms that it works. Slowly, the shank of the key slips from your grip and disappears into the lock, and the great stone lid opens to reveal a magnificent silver helm. We do have Sixth Sense. You sense that the helm has magical properties that can aid you in combat. You detect no evil surrounding this item or the stone chest in which it lies. Sure, we'll take it. We don't have another helmet, do we? Right, combat skill +2. Climb over 100 stone steps before arriving at a narrow landing. Roll a dice and add 3. Oh, it's still low. You continue upwards until you reach a narrow stone door. Like the other doors you have seen so far, it is controlled by a wall lever. This door also has a small spy hole cut into its center. Carefully placing your eye to the aperture, you peer into the small room beyond. There, lying on the floor of the cell, are 3 sleeping doom wolves. In the north wall, a cell door is open, and the outline of an ice barbarian's back can be seen filling the archway. We do have both of those. No, we have animal kinship. You sense that the doom wolves are sleeping deeply. There is a chance that you can slip past them, overpower the ice barbarian guard, and close the cell door before they awake. What? Do I want to lock myself in the cell? Like, what is... What am I trying to do here? Alright, see you later, DJ. Like, why would I want to go in the cell? Alright, no, I don't want to do this. Leave. As you reach the landing below, you stumble and graze your leg. Sprawled on the stone steps, you notice a gap in the left wall. A door has been cunningly concealed by the intricate carvings. Looking more closely, you see a small lever, which you quickly pull. The stone door moves slowly to one side. It reveals a narrow archway that is full of billowing and swirling mist, hiding whatever it is that lurks beyond. You notice a severe drop in temperature. Guardian. So that's if we basically survived the whole adventure so far, which we have not. Well, we do have Sixth Sense. You can sense an alien life force somewhere on the other side of the archway. Concentrating your skill, you try to determine whether it is good or evil. You focus your mental powers until you're almost in a trance, but it is no good. You cannot identify it. At least you have been forewarned by your Kai discipline of some presence, and you prepare yourself to enter the misty arch. You enter a massive chamber, ill-lit and icy cold, a hidden temple of the ancients. The floor is made from slabs of quartz and granite and is littered with rock and ice. Your eye follows a line of tall pillars leading towards a sacrificial altar set into an alcove in the northern wall. Upon this altar lies a strange statue, which seems to be carved from smooth white stone. At its head and feet, black staves rest upward in holes bored into the altar stone. To the left of the altar there is a darkened archway through which a flight of stairs ascends out of view. Smooth white stone. So we can either only step on the quartz or only step on the granite? Interesting. We probably should do one of them, but which? The statue itself is carved from smooth white stone. So maybe we could be stepping on the quartz. Uh-oh. As you step onto the quartz, you sense a vibration that runs up your leg to your knee. You see that, within the flagstone, a dull light pulsates and a humming sound can be heard emanating from the altar. With your heart pounding, you prepare yourself for an attack and slowly advance. You have taken less than a dozen steps when a brilliant cackle of blue energy arcs between the two staves. You see the white statue beginning to move as if activated by the surge of power. Just immediately attack. Your blow splinters the smooth white surface of the statue. A freezing blast of wind hisses from the crack, and within seconds, a film of glistening ice covers every inch of the chamber. Unless you have applied Bacna oil to your skin, you lose 2 endurance points due to the sudden drop in temperature. To your mounting horror, you see that the wind is taking the shape of a small cyclone. It is drawing all the loose ice and rock of the chamber towards its core. You have released an ice demon, and it is intent on your destruction. We do have the summer sword. The raging wind tears at your clothes and bombards you with sharp plumes of ice and rock. As you raise the summer sword, an intense howling fills your ears. It is a cry of horror and desperation. You strike at the core of this demon, slicing through the cyclone and into the fabric of its being. In an instant, the wind and the ghastly wailing cease. All that remains are the shattered pieces of a hollow statue scattered on the floor. Let's have a search then. You carefully examine the altar and the two black staves protruding from its surface. The crackling arc of energy that links these staves seemed to die at the very moment you plunged the somersault into the cyclonic demon. You notice that where the statue had lain, two stone buttons have now risen from the surface of the altar. You sense that these buttons are an ancient lock of some kind. If pressed in the correct order, they may reveal a secret compartment or chamber, but there is also the possibility, if pressed in the wrong order, they may activate a trap. Uh-oh. Let's go for it. Oh no. We don't have the Mind Over Matter. This is the first time we've ever found a use for Mind Over Matter. Well, there was a use before, but it didn't turn out to be very useful. The stone buttons rise less than an inch above the smooth altar surface. You notice that they are each surrounded by strange, barely perceptible hieroglyphs, eroded by the passage of time. You now have to decide in which sequence you will press the buttons. Press them both together, I think. It's not. I think it's got to be one of the first two. I don't know. Go for right then left. Hidden panel opens near the right stave. Inside you find a beautiful glowing crystal. It is warm to the touch. If you wish to keep this glowing crystal, sure we will. Activate the buttons again? No. I will leave the temple. As you pass through the archway, you notice a lever set into the dark stone wall. You pull it and a door slides across, sealing the temple behind you. The temperature is warmer and you can hear a low rumbling sound somewhere in the distance. Ahead you can see a light at the end of a dark passageway. You discover that it is shining out of an oblong portal close to the floor, through which you can see a corridor 10 feet below. Yeah, okay. Squeeze through. Holding your equipment and your breath, you try to land as quietly as you can on the dusty floor of the corridor. Unfortunately, you twist your ankle in the fall and cannot stifle a yelp of pain. Then to your horror, you see an ice barbarian seated less than 30 feet away to your left. His head is slowly turning in your direction. However, a quick glance to your right reveals another corridor heading north, less than 15 feet from where you now kneel. We do have camouflage. The stone walls of the corridor are covered with strange carvings which cast deep shadows. Using your skill, you hide yourself in their gloom. The ice barbarian walks slowly towards you, his movements tense and unsteady. Your skin crawls as you notice for the first time his white, pupilless eyes. Holding your breath, you pray that he has not seen you. The ice barbarian screams a low, unnatural cry. You have been spotted, and you know you must silence him quickly before he alerts the whole of Ikaya to your presence. The ice barbarian slowly advances, his white pupilless eyes sending a shiver down your spine. In his right hand he clutches a bone scimitar. Although it is raised to strike, his movements are stiff and unsteady as if he were attacking against his will. He is immune to mind blasts, of course he is, they all are. Oh, we've got such a good ratio here, I think we're fine. Wow, insta-kill. We got a crit. That was an insta-kill. Alright. Tooth-encrusted bone sword lies at the barbarian's side. You may take this weapon if you wish. You also discover a gold bracelet on his left wrist. Alright, well we will take the sword, why not? We've got space for it. We'll use the Sixth Sense. There is an aura of power encircling the gold bracelet that makes you feel uneasy. The ice barbarians rely on tooth and bone for their weapons. Because there are no mines in Kalte. Not only gold, but all metals are considered rare and precious. You have never heard of the Ice Barbarians trading their furs for any metal other than steel. Jewelry is of no interest to these hard and cruel hunters. You suspect that this bracelet is worn by force and not by choice. Well, I would like... No, we'll leave the bracelet then. It's going to control us, isn't it? Turning a corner, you breathe a sigh of relief. Behind you, all is silent, but you become aware that the low rumbling sound you detected earlier is much louder in this corridor. A few yards along to your left, a short passage leads to a closed stone door. Sure, why not? We'll investigate the door. It's like... I'm craving for some blue cheese. There is a lever in the wall and a spy hole in the center of the door. Peering through the spy hole, you see a strange sight. A man in a dark robe is kneeling in the center of a pentacle, chalked on the floor of the chamber. His head is bowed and he seems to be in a trance. Sure, let's bust in. As the stone door grinds open, the man jerks his head back in surprise. "Who's there?" he whispers in a thin, strangled voice. His eyes glint from beneath the shadow of his ragged hood. Suddenly, he seems to recognize you and jumps excitedly to his feet. "The gods be praised, Akai Lord! My name is Tygon. I'm a merchant from Ragador. The Ice Barbarians kidnapped me in Juk and brought me here. I now await an audience with their new Brumalmark, psalm-lending sorcerer they call Vonatar. It seems that he shall decide my fate, but if you free me from this sorcerer's pentagram, I'll aid you as best as I can." If you have ever visited Ragadorn, in our... We have visited Ragadorn. But did we visit Ragadorn in this playthrough? Don't remember, but I feel like we always visited Ragadorn. Alright, let's ask him. Well, if it's a requirement, they've probably programmed it in, so they know that we visited Ragadorn, so let's do it. Wish to ask who the current ruler, the name of the river that divides Ragadorn into the east and west, or the name of the tavern in Barnacle Street. Well, he's a merchant, so he'd probably know the river. The tavern, probably. I mean, he probably stays at the tavern every now and then. Alright, let's ask him about the tavern. The Rusty Anchor Inn, of course. I don't remember. Sure, we'll free him. Uh-oh. Using the edge of your cloak, you wipe away a section of the pentagram that is wide enough to let the man escape. You notice that he is painfully thin and unsteady on his feet. My thanks, Kai Lord. I shall endeavor to repay your kindness someday if we ever escape from this fortress. You had best lead, for my eyes ail me. I have suffered snow blindness, and the pain still lingers on. You lead the way into the passage and are about to turn north into the main corridor, when a pair of steely-fingered hands suddenly close around your throat from behind. A hideous cry betrays the merchant's true identity. He is a Helghast. I mean, the Helghasts probably know this stuff, so we can't just ask them questions. Like, they probably know the answers. deadly shape-changing servant of the Dark Lords. He has tricked you into releasing him from the pentagram and now intends to murder you. Alright, we do possess the Summer Sword. Oh, so we've got a good combat ratio. We can't take any potions, they said. Bit damaged. But we have the edge. I think we'll win. Unless... Oh, we'll lose 2 endurance points for every round of combat we fight with the creature, though. Oh, but it loses it. But we do double damage to it. So we'll probably win this easily. All right. We'll just do it normally. We'll do 14. Alright. 14 again. It was actually quite close. We do win, though. The body of the Helghast bubbles and dissolves at your feet. A vile green gas seeping out from beneath its robes. As you stare in revulsion at the decomposing corpse. I just choked on a bit of cheese. You suddenly realize that this foul creature must have been sent here to kill Vonatar. There can be no other reason for its being here. The Dark Lords of Helgadad crave Vonatar's death in payment for his failure at the Battle of Holmgulf and have discovered his whereabouts. The wizard must have discovered the Helghast and imprisoned it within the pentacle until he could devise a way of permanently destroying it. We could have worked together! You gingerly touch your wounded throat and thank the gods that you possess the Summer Sword. Its powers have once again saved your life. Turning into the main corridor, you quickly leave behind the smoking remains. On the west wall of the corridor, you see another stone door, with a small spy hole cut into the center, revealing a cell on the other side. An old man is huddled in the far corner of the cell. Sure, we'll open it. Oh my. How is our health? We're on 7. We're healing each turn because of healing ability, so might be okay. Upon my soul, a Kai Lord, he exclaims. Now, his eyes now wide with astonishment. How I've prayed for freedom, for deliverance from this infernal place. And although hope never deserted me, I never expected such an illustrious rescuer. In the middle of his excitement, the old man is suddenly disturbed by a fit of coughing that leaves him pale and exhausted. It is a few minutes before he can speak again. My name is Loi Kaimar. I am an elder of the Magicians Guild of Toran, he says, slowly removing a small crystal star pendant, the symbol of the guild, from beneath his tattered robes. Okay, I trust this guy. The guild is known as the Brotherhood of the Crystal Star, and the magician shows this pendant as proof of his identity. You ask him how he came to be imprisoned here in Ikaya, many hundreds of miles from his native Toran. Vonatar, that unspeakable wretch, is responsible for my plight. Days before the Dark Lord invasion of Summerland, he betrayed your kind masters to win power. The black power of death and darkness. However, he failed to play his part in the war plans his evil masters had laid. The Dark Lords do not tolerate such weakness. Mercy has no place in their brutal minds. In the bitterness of defeat, they sought to destroy Vonatar for his crime of failure. Vonatar knew that I possessed the only means to effect an escape from their vengeance. For my guild staff has the power of teleportation. He tried to steal it and flee to the safety of Ikaya by himself, but he learned that its power is not for all men to share. Only I am blessed with its secret. He was angry and would have murdered my kinspeople had I not agreed to bring him here, so I had no choice but to do so. Ever since, I have been a prisoner in this cell. Vonotar has tortured my body and my mind, but I have not divulged the secret of my guild star, which he now keeps in the hall of the Brommelmark. For if I were to tell him, my life would no longer be of any value. You tell Loy Kaimar of your mission and of the events that have led you to your meeting. He offers to show you a route through Ikaya to the hall of the Brommelmark, where Vonotar now resides as ruler. And if you can retrieve his guild staff, he promises to teleport you to the coast in time to rendezvous with your ship. Why not just teleport me back to, back home? Alright. You possess a glowing crystal, we do. Loy Kaimar suddenly points to the pocket in which you have put the glowing crystal. Why do you carry a doomstone, Kai Lord? Are you unaware of the danger it holds? You quickly remove the crystal and show it to the magician. Ah, he cries, as if to look upon it causes him pain. Cast it away before we succumb to the sickness. It is a cursed gem of the ancients. It can only bring sickness and death to any mortal who covets its beauty. Alright, get rid of it then. Follow me, says Loy Kaimar. I've listened to the sounds of Ikaya for over a year, and the secret sliding doors and hidden routes are no mystery to me. I have learned more about these corridors and passages from the confines of my cell than Vonotar has discovered with all of his cunning. You follow the old magician through a network of secret passages and tunnels, up long flights of stairs and into chambers dark and cold. At the top of one very steep staircase you come to a stone door. A strange, sickly smell is seeping from a small spy hole. The kitchens, whispers Loy Kaimar, showing his distaste for Ikaya cuisine by sticking out his tongue and grimacing. You can see that the secret door opens next to a fireplace in which burns a roaring fire. Hanging over the fire is a large stone cauldron of gruel. Two ice barbarians sit at a table nearby with empty bowls in front of them. We do have the green gallow brush, which was the sleeping potion? Yeah. You take the potion from your backpack and carefully open the door just wide enough to be able to empty the contents of the vial into the bubbling cauldron. You do not have to wait long for the ice barbarians to fall asleep after their meal. The kitchen is small and surprisingly well stocked with herbs. These are from the trading post at Yuk, says Loy Kaimar, peering closely at the labeled jars, several of which he crams into his pockets. Opening two herb jars, he mixes the contents and offers them to you. It will give you strength, Lone Wolf, he says. You eat the dry leaves and feel a warm glow radiating throughout your body. How much health are we on now? 18. Okay, we're almost back to full. We're on the same level as the hall of the Brommelmark, whispers Loy Kaimar, peering through a crack in the kitchen door. It's at the end of this corridor. Two ice barbarians stand beside the jewel-encrusted doors that lead to the Great Hall. They are covered from head to toe in strange bone armor and armed with crystal swords. The old wizard steps back from the door and says we must deal with them silently and swiftly. He takes 3 jars from his pockets and mutters a strange incantation as he mixes the contents together in a stone bowl. There is a pitcher of water on the table. He splashes a few drops onto the herbs, and wisps of blue smoke arise. This will silence the guards if we can move it close enough to them. This is where Mind Over Matter would be useful. We'll use Camouflage. Loi Kaimar hands you some strips of cloth with which to plug your nostrils. You take a deep breath, pick up the bowl of smoking herbs, and leave the kitchen. Using camouflage to blend in with the shadows of the corridor, you edge your way nearer and nearer to the unsuspecting guards. You leave the bowl in the shadow of a pilaster and return to the kitchen to wait for it to take effect. In less than a minute, the ice barbarians collapse to the floor and you approach the hall of the Brommel Mark undetected. You are delighted to discover that one of the great jeweled doors is unlocked. Preparing yourself for attack, you gently push the door ajar and enter Vonotar's chamber. Okay. The hall of the Brummel Mark is a vast chamber constructed of crystal blocks rising to a central plateau. On this stands the Brummel Mark throne, as old as Zakaya itself. There, Vonotar sits, surrounded by the tomes and eldritch trappings of a necromancer. He is wrapped in study and does not see you enter the hall. He remains oblivious to your presence until Loi Kaimar sneezes. Really, Loi Kaimar? Who dares disturb me? He hisses, rising from the Brummel Mark throne, his eyes searching for an intruder. Upon seeing you, he emits a horrified gasp and fumbles for his black staff. He has the look of a criminal who has been discovered in the act of some dreadful crime. Quickly, you raise your weapon and begin to climb the crystal pyramid. You know that you have little time to reach him if you are to overpower and capture him alive. Why do we need him alive, exactly? I mean, they want him brought to justice, but he's pretty dangerous. Might be better to just kill him. You reach the edge of the plateau in time to see a wide circle of blocks descending around the throne. Between you and Vonotar, a deep moat is forming. Then from the depths of the moat you hear ghastly, inhuman gibbering. You brace yourself for combat, while totally unprepared for the horror that now faces you. From out of the dark slithers a huge ghoulish green monster. Its deformed head is a mass of tentacles and suckers that ooze a putrid black slime. At the center of this writhing mass, a hideous yellow eye pulsates. Vonotar has control over this monster and he is directing it towards you. We do have the Summer Sword. He's got 50. Combat ratio 4. Let's think. We are going to take a lot of damage though. Let's have a look at the table. So combat ratio 4. Oh, that's not too bad. Actually, yeah. No, that's fine. I think we'll manage fine. We don't need to take the potion. Alright. We do 24 on the first hit. Nice. 24 on the next hit. Oh, we kill it in 3 rounds. As the vile Akra quivers and dies, Vonotar breaks off mind combat and runs back to the Brummel Mark throne. Lord Kaimar is badly shaken, but he has survived the ordeal. He quickly joins you at the edge of the moat and casts a handful of herbs down into the darkness. Within seconds, a mass of vines and creepers coil upwards to form a bridge. You are halfway across the bridge when Vonatar suddenly reappears, a crystal rod held high in his hand. He takes aim at the mass of creepers, and a chilling cone of frost hurtles from the rod's tip. We do have the Summer Sword. Also, we're kind of in combat now. You point the Summer Sword towards Vonatar's crystal rod. In an instant, the cone of frost arcs away from the bridge and shatters against the golden sword. You hear Vonatar curse at you once again. Curse you as once again the power of the Summer Sword saves you from its destructive magic. Your time has come, shouts a voice, but it is Loi Kaimar and not Vonatar who now speaks. A knot of herbs flies through the air and hits Vonatar squarely in the chest. In an instant, the hunchback wizard is engulfed in a tangle of vines that ensnare him from head to toe. Loi Kaimar bridges the moat with more creepers and joins you on the platform. Be sure to remove his rings and amulets, he says as he busily searches for his guild staff. He is the master of trickery. We would not want him to miss the special homecoming that awaits him in Summerland. You marvel at the old man's composure. After such a desperate fight, he seems completely unruffled. Ah, here she is, he announces triumphantly as he withdraws his guild staff from beneath the Bromelmark throne. You pass him your map of Kalte and point out the location of Cardinal. I'll not be needing that, he replies, a little contemptuously. Maps are invariably wrong. I prefer to rely on my own sense of direction. Well, that's nice, but you don't know where the Cardinal is. You may know the world. Whatever. The old magician raises his staff and a dazzling beam of light shoots from its tip. He makes 3 wide sweeps of the air, and the hall of the Bromelmark is transformed into an umbrella of colour. Oh my god. As the colours fade, you become aware of a sudden drop in temperature. You now stand upon the Yuk ice shelf at a point less than half a mile from where the Cardinal lies at anchor. Loi Kaimar and Vonatar are close by, both shivering in the chill morning air. Within minutes you are sighted by the ship's lookout, and a longboat is dispatched. As a wriggling Vonatar is hoisted unceremoniously aboard the Cardinal and deposited in the brig, the captain is the first to congratulate you on your skill and daring. How did you manage to return so quickly? He asks incredulously. We were not expecting you for another 10 days. Let us say, interrupts Loi Kaimar, that the wisdom of the Kai and the law of the Magician's Guild can surpass the limitations of even time itself. A puzzled expression crosses the captain's face, but it is gradually replaced by a smile as he begins to understand the magician's curious answer. Your journey to Skaven is swift, but you are saddened by your memories of the brave guilds that were left behind. Your arrival in the port is greeted by an anxious crowd. They fear that your early return is a sign of your mission's failure. When the news of Vonatar's capture becomes known, your warrior skills are required once again, this time in the defense of your enemy against the seething mob of outraged Somlending that assault and Skaven jail. Safe passage is eventually secured to Torrent, where trial awaits the traitor. On the dawn of the feast in Maesman, in the depths of the guild hall of the Crystal Star, Vonatar the traitor is tried by his brotherhood and found guilty of his terrible crimes. He is led away in silence to the deepest chamber of the guild hall, wherein lies the Dazian, a portal of total darkness, the door of an eternal prison from which there can be no escape. Footnote: the portal you throw Vonatar into is known as a Shadowgate. This particular Shadowgate leads to Dazian, a realm from which no one has ever returned. You are the avenger of his crimes, and it is you who cast the wretched traitor into the limbo of Dazian. Your mission is now completed. You have survived the Caverns of Kalte and freed Summerland from the menace of Vonatar. But the heat of battle and the challenge of a new and desperate quest awaits you in Book 4 of the Lone Wolf series entitled The Chasm of Doom. We did it in one, and that means we go up a rank because we've survived 2 consecutive books. That means we actually get to keep all this crazy stuff. That adds 2 to our combat skill. That adds 2 to our combat skill. That's basically +6 better than a normal weapon. That adds 2 endurance points. Like, we don't even have a good in combat roll, but we've made up for it with all this stuff. And we've got these potions as well. A rope. Most of them are healing potions that can't be used during combat, which is annoying. That one, maybe you can. We've got that diamond, which is worth thousands in theory, but we can't sell it because we can only hold 50 in our wallet. We've got the red pass. Oh, we've still got the ticket to Port Bax. How long can we keep this ticket to Port Bax? Like, if we ever end up back in wherever it was, we can get another free coach trip to Port Bax and save ourselves 20 crowns. We've got Bone Sword as well, but what's special about this? Is it just a normal sword? It has a name, so maybe if it comes up, they'll mention what it does. And next time I'll get to choose 1 extra skill. That means I'll have 2 more skills than you're normally allowed. But eventually we're going to die because they throw in so many insta-death scenarios in the books. Sometimes you roll a dice and, like, with 50% chance you basically just die. Alright, let me make a save here. You can save the game as a JSON file. So you can upload that JSON file. We can go to the next book, but I'm not going to start it now. Yeah, it's kept all our stuff. This is really well programmed, actually. I've not found any glitches or bugs in the logic. Like, they've accounted for all... And there's a lot of branching, all different things that can happen, so they've really accounted for everything. I think next time we'll take Mind Shield, because it does come up often and hurts us when we're in battle against someone using Mind Blast. Really bad endurance though, but we're managing. How long can we keep the Summer Sword? Alright. I'll make 1 more save here. Alright, so next time, the Chasm of Doom. So basically there's... If I just go here, like this, those are all the books. They were published in 1984, like as proper paperback books. Or at least the first one was, and they were... I don't know how many years he spent writing them, but... We've almost finished the first, like... collection of them. Yeah, 26 books to go. Chasm of Doom is the next one. Pretty cool. Like, there's not many of these game books where the authors actually release them to the public. So you know, I don't know of any other like web app like this, or even just like basic... Well, okay, so a couple of years ago, this didn't exist, this site, but instead I used this one, which just has Darkwood when? It was going to be the next thing I played, but then I remembered I've got to continue with Morrowind, otherwise, because I held off Morrowind during Spooktober, so I gotta get back to Morrowind, otherwise I'm gonna suffer RPG syndrome and forget everything and start again. So, next time I stream it'll be Morrowind, I guess, and then after that, probably, Darkwood. I mean, these book streams, I tried to do them earlier in the day and save the games for the evening. Right. Oh, and yeah, this site is basically like this. There's the... Oh, this is not the, hang on, go back. They do have a browser app here, how do you do it? Ah, here we are. JavaScript action charts. Yeah, so there's like a JavaScript version, which is also very usable, but like now the one I'm using is better because it actually does automates a lot of stuff. Here you have to kind of manage a lot of things yourself. You have to type in all this stuff yourself, but it's still very playable. And this can be downloaded as well. But Lone Wolf is the main series here, but I think he's got others. Let's have a look. That's all Lone Wolf. And then what's this? This is spin-offs. And then there's this separate series called Freeway Warrior, which is a bit like Mad Max, I think. It's just like a cars in a wasteland. And there's this one, there's another one. Lone Wolf Miniatures? This. Oh, the Nudniks, the little mice that stole all our gold. That's Vonatar. Awesome. Alright. Next time, Chasm of Doom. And we didn't die, so we're on 10 deaths still. Alright, see you next time.